Hey guys, it's Becky here at Aunt Beck's Creations. I just wanted to come on and check in with you. Had doctor's appointments this week. Sorry, my eyes are still a little dilated. They're going down, but yeah, today's appointment was lots of eye drops. So let's back up. Monday they called from the surgeon's office, and the surgeon that I was going to see was sick. So they've rescheduled me for next Monday with a different surgeon. So all of that part of my worry is put off for a week. Then yesterday I went and got my blood test results. A1C was 6.7. So that's doing better, but I need to still get it down to the 6. I had lost 4 pounds on this paleo diet. But we do really good with the paleo until we hit a recipe that's absolutely disgusting and I just can't eat it. And then we go back and we'll eat like just a low calorie meal. It won't be considered paleo because it might have something in it that we're not supposed to have on paleo, like beans or corn or peas or something like that. But we're not eating those high starchy foods very often. So Scott and I are both feeling better, but we still have a ways to go to get to where we do not need the medication totally for the diabetes. We need to lose 25% of our body weight. So that's about 54 pounds, 52 to 54 pounds for me. So I've got to lose that, and we're going to work on that. And we started back to walking together. We actually walked down the street and around the loop down there last night. And you can see the lake that this is near. So tonight when we walk, if it's not too late, I'll take the camera and maybe take a little video. There's actually a house for sale right on the lake. But we actually want to live closer to where we're setting up all these doctors and stuff. So we got to look for something down that way. It's about a 15-20 minute drive from here. What else? What else do we want to share? My blood pressure was up at the doctor's office. It was like 143 over 93 or something. So it was up. So what I did after the doctor's appointment, I went and bought myself a blood pressure cuff so I can check my own blood pressure here at the house. And it actually was like 123 over 76 last night with my pulse rate at 73 at bedtime. That was after we walked. And we only walked for 20 minutes. We've got to get it to where we're walking the 30 minutes. So we're, getting it up. And the eye doctor I went to today said we really need to be huffing and puffing. If you're not huffing and puffing, you're not working hard enough. So we got to aim to huff and puff. And she also said I need to do some strength training to build muscles. So when I'm down at the house dealing with the dogs, I'll grab our little weights that we have. I think they're 5, 10, and 15 pound hand weights. That way we can work our arms and maybe build some muscle in our arms, and then I'll have to do the stomach exercises, the crunches and stuff. I just have to be careful with that until after I've seen the surgeon, because he's going to check on this hernia on my belly too. So, but things are progressing. My blood sugars stayed at 126 even after eating today. So I'm going to check it again at 1 o'clock and see what it says as far as after my lunchtime. Because it was 126 this morning at 4:13, and then at 10:47 it was 126. So we'll see how that reads out. I don't know how that transfers to the A1C number that they use. There's like 2 different numbers, and the doctor deals with A1C because that's what they test you for. But then the daily number is what this little meter tells me. So anyway, eye doctor today. I had probably 2 or 3 times the drops that normal people would get because they noted that I have in this eye, in my left eye, there's actually some spots on my eye that are called aging spots. And I have some of those in my eye that are quite visible when they photograph them. And she did take an actual photo of my eye, which is kind of a creepy looking orange and yellow. If you've never had a picture of your eye done, they're really kind of creepy. But the main reason I had the pictures done is on my right eye. The nerve endings she could see when she was looking through the visual thing on my eye was the nerve endings at the back of my eye on this side are bigger. And sometimes that's a sign of glaucoma. So they added more drops and they measured the thickness of my retinas and then they took a picture of my eye. And what she'll do is the doctor's gonna review those, and then next year when I go for an exam, they'll do another whole picture, and then she can compare the two. But if I have any real drastic changes to sight, I have to call and get in to see her and get this dealt with. I told her about my issues with dry eyes in the morning and how it's really crunchy and crispy, especially on my right eye. And she said that's probably the diabetes changing the fluids that naturally, your tears that naturally flow over your eye. When you have diabetes, they get all crunchy and crispy and they're not as fluid. And it can cause some bacteria to grow on your lashes along there. So she gave me a couple samples of things that I can buy over the counter to basically cleanse the lashes at the roots right along there, and then you want to just make sure you get all of there. But she also gave me a prescription for some that I can put on and leave on. This stuff here that's over the counter, you have to rinse it back off with, after you've cleansed it, you have to rinse it with some warm water. So I've got more to my daily activities to do every day. Like when I brush my teeth, I clean my eyes. And we'll see if that makes the grittiness go away that I have when I first wake up in the morning. So that's what I've got to look forward to. Next Monday, I'm supposed to pick up my special shoes with the custom-made insoles that the doctor wanted me to have to protect my feet so I don't get ulcers on my feet. And yeah, you're supposed to get one free pair a year, but we haven't met the deductible, so I have to show up with $265 for my free pair of shoes. But sometimes that's just how it goes. But they just called and said that they might have to push my appointment back because they haven't received the paperwork from my doctor, and asked me if I would call the doctor's office and see if they could find that paperwork and get it back to them. So I did that, and I told the shoe place, I said, you know, the doctor's office had a water line break. We were lucky to get rescheduled this week for our appointments that we had last week. And so they might have just got lost in the shuffle. So I went and called, and hopefully they'll fax them over to them. It's barely like a mile between the two, and they got to have trouble passing paperwork. So I guess that's all I'm going to share as far as my health update. I know a lot of people have been asking how things went, and I decided I'm going to share it, what's going on with me, so somebody else that is not doing all they need to with their diabetes or their health, you need to take it serious, especially now that we're in our 50s. You know, we should have been doing better in our 30s and 40s. But now that we're in our 50s, I wish I had done better in my 30s and 40s. But the reason I'm sharing all this is so that those that need that little kick in the fanny to get over to the doctor's office. Talk to your doctor. If your doctor doesn't listen, it's time to find a new doctor. And there are those out there that will listen. We are so fortunate and just so lucky to have gotten to move up here, because the doctors up here are like night and day. They are so caring. They are just so professional. They just take time with us. They're asking us questions. They're letting us ask questions, and we're getting answers from both of us. From our side, she gets answers, and we get answers from her. So that's why I'm sharing this, just to show what you can expect if you don't take care of yourself. Things that come up with us, are things that can be avoided if you just, get on the right diet, get your exercise, don't buy prepackaged stuff. If you start reading labels, when you're a diabetic, you've got to get to where you read labels. Keep those, if it's over 16 grams of carbs per item, per serving, it's too much. That's too many carbs. And you need to eat good carbs, not the garbage carbs, not the sugar, not the processed flours and things like that. That's what gets your sugar out of control. That's what's happened to us. We've been eating garbage. And we're making a switch. Scott really, he loves this paleo diet. But, and I've enjoyed some of the stuff, but others is just, I don't care for it. I would rather do totally without something, like no dairy, than to eat some of this stuff. But I'm going to do what we need to do to get healthy. And hopefully I'll drop this weight and get to where I don't have to take prescriptions. The doctor did call me in 2 more prescriptions. And this is what I'm having to do now. Every time you go to a new doctor, you take your pills with you. I said I didn't want this. I told Scott, I said, I don't want to be the old lady that travels around with like a grocery bag. And I'm fast approaching the grocery bag. Let me tell you why she called in the other 2. One is a high blood pressure medicine that I'm not going to start until after I go back next week and have my BP checked with the nurse. It's sitting at the pharmacy. It can sit there. The other one is an anti-seizure medicine. Not that I'm having seizures. She's using it to help me treat my neuropathy, that it's not settled in my feet like it does with most diabetics. It's actually in my hands. She thinks that's why my fingers, they don't hurt at the joint, okay? They hurt between, on this bone, on every single finger. And night before last, it was just really, really excruciating. And she called it glove neuropathy. And she was hoping that that new medicine would help alleviate some of my pain in my hands. So I'm going to pick that one up and tell them to hold the one that's for the high blood pressure until after I've talked to the doctor again this next week. I'd rather not start a whole bunch. And she even said, don't start taking them both at the same time, because I need to know if you're having side effects from one before you start the other. So anyway, if you don't want to start carrying around a whole bag of pills and you want your plate to be half covered in pills every night, get out there and walk. Or if you can't move and get out and walk, do something to move where you are. If you're in a wheelchair, move. If you're in bed, move. Just do something to get your blood flowing. And even if it's only in your upper body, try to move. Do what you can. And don't eat a bunch of garbage food, the prepackaged stuff and pre-made stuff. It's not real food. It's full of more chemicals and harmful things. Then you'd be better off eating a piece of paper every day than some of that stuff. There's just as many chemicals in like this as there is in those pre-made foods. So, Okay, dears, I'll quit harping. I want y'all to take care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones that live with you, and just don't wait. Don't wait until you're taking so many pills you just feel like you're getting choked every day. Okay? I'll take care of me, you take care of you. Bye, guys.